And I don't know, I feel like there's a major blind spot more broadly when it comes to the cost of rent and its actual impact on households. When I look at your data, I look at CBA's data, and it paints a completely different picture to some of these surveys that say, well, no, rents, that the proportion being spent on rent today isn't that dissimilar to prior to the pandemic. When you get out there and you ask the average person on the street, and they're like, it's a completely different galaxy, mate.
Absolutely, and interesting. There were some comments on the Hilda data about that, and suggesting that the story on rents is probably more aggressive, particularly for some particular household cohorts that have less ability to pay. So that was quite interesting. They talked about the proportion of people in financial difficulty, etc., etc. But again, the Hilda data is 2 years plus old, and which doesn't help. We want more frequent data than that, more recent data than that. And as I mentioned earlier on, the Hilda data also underrepresents the cohorts that have come into the country relatively recently, which is important because in my data, it's the first generation migrants who actually record the highest level of mortgage stress, which is quite interesting, right? So people come in trying to find somewhere, paying through the nose for it, and end up in financial difficulty almost immediately, which comes right back to our earlier conversation then about high migration as well. It's all linked.